The discovery. The lunar dust settled around Dr. Elena Torres's boots as she made her way through the newly excavated tunnel beneath Research Station Artemis. The beam from her helmet light caught crystalline formations in the walls that shouldn't exist in lunar geology. After 3 years of studying anomalous energy readings from this region, she had finally convinced the Earth Science Council to approve a deep excavation. The readings from her quantum scanner grew stronger as she approached what appeared to be a dead end. But Elena knew better. The energy signature pulsed behind that wall with a rhythm that reminded her of a heartbeat. The lunar dust settled around Dr. Elena Torres's boots as she made her way through the newly excavated tunnel beneath Research Station Artemis. The beam from her helmet light caught crystalline formations in the walls that shouldn't exist in lunar geology. After 3 years of studying anomalous energy readings from this region, she had finally convinced the Earth Science Council to approve a deep excavation. The readings from her quantum scanner grew stronger as she approached what appeared to be a dead end. But Elena knew better. The energy signature pulsed behind that wall with a rhythm that reminded her of a heartbeat. She pressed her gloved hand against the smooth surface, and for a moment, she could have sworn she felt it vibrate in response. Dr. Torres, status update. The voice of Director Hammond crackled through her helmet comm. The quantum signatures are off the charts, sir. Elena replied, her dark eyes fixed on the scanner readings. Whatever's generating them is just behind this formation. Permission to deploy the resonance probe. There was a pause before Hammond responded. Granted, but proceed with caution. The Valkyrie ambassador is breathing down our necks about any unauthorized technological advancement. Elena suppressed a grimace at the mention of the Valkyrie. Since their arrival 5 years ago, Earth's scientific progress had been carefully monitored and restricted by the alien empire, all in the name of protecting less advanced species from themselves, of course. She attached the resonance probe to the wall, calibrating it to match the strange energy patterns. The crystalline surface began to hum, then glow with a soft blue light that spread in geometric patterns. Elena stepped back, her heart pounding as the wall simply dissolved, revealing a chamber that shouldn't exist. My God, she whispered, stepping through the opening. The chamber was perfectly spherical, its walls covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. In the center, suspended in midair, floated what appeared to be a translucent cube about the size of her palm. Dr. Torres. Hammond's voice was tense. We're picking up a massive energy spike. I see it, Elena responded, approaching the cube carefully. It appears to be some kind of containment device or data storage unit. The architecture. This isn't Valkyrie technology. It's something else entirely. As she drew closer, the cube began to pulse with the same rhythm she'd detected earlier. Her quantum scanner's display went haywire, showing readings that defied everything she understood about physics. Then, something extraordinary happened. The cube projected a holographic display, but unlike anything Elena had seen before, the images seemed to form directly in her mind, bypassing her optical nerves entirely. She saw stars, worlds, and beings of pure energy. She saw a civilization that had transcended physical form, leaving behind gifts, seeds of knowledge planted throughout the galaxy, waiting for the right minds to find them. Elena. Hammond's shout snapped her back to reality. Your neural patterns are going crazy. Get out of there now. But Elena couldn't move. The cube was communicating with her, sharing information at a level beyond simple data transfer. She understood now. This was Meridian technology, left behind by a species that had vanished from the galaxy long before humans first looked up at the stars. Director, she said, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she was experiencing, we need to secure this site immediately, and we need to keep it hidden from the Valkyrie. What I'm seeing, it could change everything. The cube dimmed slightly, but the connection remained. Elena could feel it at the edges of her consciousness, like a door that had been opened and could never fully close again. The Meridians hadn't abandoned their technology. They had hidden it, waiting for species that could truly understand it. species whose minds could evolve to interface with it naturally. As she carefully documented her findings, Alina's mind raced with the implications. The Valkyries' technological superiority was their justification for dominating lesser species. But what if they had been wrong about humanity all along? What if human consciousness itself was the key to something far beyond their understanding? Back in her lab, Alina reviewed the preliminary data with shaking hands. The neural interface capabilities of the Meridian artifact weren't just unprecedented. They were impossible by all known laws of physics. Yet she had experienced it firsthand. More importantly, the initial scan suggested that this wasn't an isolated phenomenon. There were similar energy signatures all over the solar system, hidden away in places no one had thought to look. A priority message flashed across her screen. The Valkyrie High Command was demanding an inspection of all lunar research facilities. They had detected the energy spike from the artifact's activation. Alina quickly encrypted her findings and transmitted them through a secure channel to Director Hammond's private server. As she finished, her lab door slid open. Kai Chen, her trusted research partner and one of the few people she could truly confide in, rushed in. "Alina, we've got company. Valkyrie inspection ships just entered lunar orbit." Alina nodded, already implementing their contingency protocols. "Help me activate the quantum camouflage fields. The artifact's signature is still too strong. They'll detect it if we don't mask it properly." As they worked to hide their discovery, Alina couldn't help but smile. The Valkyrie thought they had humanity firmly under their thumb, restricted and controlled. They had no idea that their supposed primitives had just stumbled upon the key to their own liberation. The artifact pulsed softly in its containment field, its rhythm now perfectly synchronized with Alina's heartbeat. This was just the beginning. Somewhere in the vast database, now partially downloaded to her secure systems, lay the truth about humanity's potential and the power to rewrite the galaxy's future. Above them, the Valkyrie ships moved into position, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the sunlight. But for the first time since their arrival, Alina felt no fear. The age of human submission was coming to an end. They just didn't know it yet. The hidden potential. Commander Marcus Chen stood at the viewport of the secure research facility buried deep within Mars's Valles Marineris, watching as another group of carefully selected individuals arrived through the quantum-shielded transport tubes. 3 months had passed since Dr. Torres' discovery, and everything had changed. The latest batch of candidates just cleared final screening. Alina reported, joining him at the viewport. Dark circles under her eyes betrayed countless sleepless nights, but her voice carried an undercurrent of excitement. Their neural plasticity scores are even higher than the last group. Marcus nodded, his military bearing softened by a slight smile. "How many does that make now?" 57 confirmed compatible individuals, Alina replied, pulling up a holographic display. Each one capable of interfacing with Meridian technology at varying levels, and we're finding more every day. The chamber below them hummed with activity as researchers and military personnel worked with the growing collection of Meridian artifacts. They had found 11 more since the initial discovery, each one carefully extracted and transported under the Valkyrie's nose. A young technician approached one of the devices, a spherical object that seemed to phase between solid and energy states. As she reached out, the sphere responded, projecting complex quantum calculations directly into her consciousness. The technician's hands moved through the air, manipulating virtual controls only she could see. "It still amazes me," Marcus mused, "how naturally some of them take to it. The Valkyrie have been studying similar artifacts for centuries without success, and here we are, interfacing with them like they were made for us." Alina's expression grew thoughtful. "That's just it, Marcus. I think they were made for us, or rather, for species with our particular type of consciousness. The Meridians weren't looking for technological advancement. They were waiting for evolutionary readiness." A priority alert flashed across their screens. Marcus's expression hardened as he read the message. "The Valkyrie are demanding increased oversight of all human research facilities. They're getting suspicious." "Let them look," Alina said with quiet confidence. "Our quantum camouflage is derived from their own technology. They literally can't see what they don't believe is possible." Speaking of which, she gestured to the central platform where their latest breakthrough was about to be tested. Dr. Sarah Wong, a quantum physicist who had shown exceptional compatibility with meridian systems, stood before what appeared to be a simple metal sphere. But as she focused her thoughts, the sphere transformed, revealing its true nature, a compact quantum drive capable of folding space itself. "Integration successful," Sarah announced, her voice steady despite the enormous mental effort. "The hybrid system is accepting both human and meridian control protocols." This was what they had been working toward. The ability to not just use meridian technology, but to merge it with human innovations. Each breakthrough brought them closer to their ultimate goal: freedom from Valkyrie dominion. Director Hammond's report came in from Luna. Marcus said quietly, "The Valkyrie are planning to implement new restrictions on human space travel. They're claiming it's for our own safety, of course." Alina's jaw tightened. They're afraid. On some level, they must sense that something's changing. "We've detected increased surveillance at all major research facilities. Then we need to accelerate the timeline." Marcus pulled up a secure map showing dozens of hidden facilities across the solar system. "How soon can we begin large-scale training?" "The neural interface protocols are stable," Alina replied. "And we've simplified the training process significantly. With the new quantum resonance chambers, we can safely awaken the potential in compatible individuals within weeks instead of months." Below them, Sarah had begun the next phase of testing. The hybrid drive hummed to life, creating a localized quantum field that briefly connected 2 points in space. It was a small demonstration, but the implications were staggering. "They called us primitives," Marcus said softly. "Treated us like children playing with toys we couldn't understand. But we've achieved more in 3 months than they have in centuries of studying meridian artifacts." Alina placed her hand against the cool glass of the viewport. "Because they were looking for technological solutions to a consciousness problem. The Meridians didn't leave behind weapons or power sources. They left tools for evolution itself." A sudden alert interrupted their conversation. One of their early warning systems had detected a Valkyrie patrol ship approaching Mars. As emergency protocols engaged and their work disappeared behind layers of quantum camouflage, Alina and Marcus shared a knowing look. The Valkyrie's time was running out. Humanity had found its path to the stars, and it ran not through brute force technology, but through the evolution of consciousness itself. In hidden facilities across the solar system, more humans were awakening to their true potential every day. The age of submission was ending. The age of transcendence was about to begin. The uprising begins. The Valkyrie High Commander's hologram towered over the United Earth Council chamber, its crystalline form radiating cold authority. "Your species has exceeded its authorized development parameters," the translated voice boomed. "We have detected quantum fluctuations consistent with restricted technologies. Submit to immediate oversight or face orbital pacification." Alina Torres sat in the back of the chamber, her face carefully neutral as she watched the council members squirm under the Valkyrie's scrutiny. Only she and a select few knew that this moment had been carefully orchestrated. The Valkyrie's ultimatum wasn't a surprise, it was an opportunity. Her quantum-linked neural implant pulsed softly, connecting her to the hidden network of meridian human hybrid systems throughout the solar system. Through it, she could feel the readiness of hundreds of trained operators, each connected to ancient powers the Valkyrie couldn't comprehend. "High Commander," Council President Chen spoke, his voice steady. "We require time to consider your demands." "You have 1 planetary rotation," the Valkyrie declared. "After that, we will implement oversight by force if necessary." The hologram vanished, leaving the chamber in tense silence. Alina slipped out quietly, making her way to the secure command center hidden beneath the council building. Commander Marcus Chen was already there, coordinating with their global network of operators. "All teams report ready," he announced as she entered. "Meridian defense systems are primed and synchronized. We're just waiting for the signal." Elena nodded, taking her position at the central interface station. Around the room, dozens of operators sat at similar stations, their minds linked to various Meridian systems through the quantum network. What looked like a simple command center was actually the nerve center of humanity's most ambitious project. "The Valkyrie fleet is moving into position," Sarah Wong reported from her monitoring station. 27 capital ships, including their planetary siege platforms. "They're not taking any chances." "They shouldn't," Elena murmured, initializing her neural link with the master control systems. The familiar sensation of expanded consciousness washed over her as she connected with the Meridian network. "But neither are we." Through the quantum link, she could sense the Valkyrie ships, massive crystalline structures housing devastating weapons and impenetrable shields. By conventional standards, Earth's defenses wouldn't last 5 minutes against such force. But they weren't fighting a conventional war. The next 24 hours passed in tense preparation. The Valkyrie, confident in their superiority, made no effort to hide their deployment of weapons platforms around Earth. Their arrogance was about to become their greatest weakness. As the deadline approached, Elena addressed the assembled operators. "Remember your training. The Meridian systems respond to consciousness itself. Don't try to force them. Let your mind flow with the quantum currents. We're not fighting with technology. We're dancing with the fabric of reality." The Valkyrie High Commander's hologram appeared again, this time simultaneously in every major city on Earth. "Your time has expired. Submit to Valkyrie authority or face the consequences of your defiance." President Chen stood before the council, his response carefully planned. "We decline. Humanity will not submit to tyranny, no matter how technologically advanced it claims to be." "Then you have chosen extinction," the High Commander declared. "Commence orbital pacification." That was the signal they had been waiting for. As the Valkyrie weapons platforms powered up, Elena initiated the quantum cascade. Through the neural network, hundreds of human operators simultaneously activated their linked Meridian systems. The effect was instantaneous and devastating. Quantum fields that had laid dormant for millennia suddenly sprang to life, enveloping the Earth in a protective cocoon of pure energy. The Valkyrie's first salvos dissipated harmlessly against barriers they couldn't even detect. "Second phase," Elena commanded. Her consciousness expanded across the quantum network. The hidden Meridian defense platforms, carefully positioned throughout the solar system, activated under human control. Beams of coherent quantum energy lanced out, not attacking the Valkyrie ships directly, but altering the very space around them. The Valkyrie fleet, for all its technological might, found itself unable to maintain basic function. Their quantum drives flickered and died. Communication systems went dark. Even their crystalline hulls began to lose cohesion as the Meridian fields disrupted the very principles they were based on. "This is impossible." The High Commander's last transmission betrayed total disbelief. "You are primitives. You cannot possibly." "We are not primitive," President Chen responded calmly. "We are humanity, and we are finally showing you what that means." The battle, if it could be called that, was over in minutes. The mighty Valkyrie fleet hung powerless in orbit, their supposedly invincible technology rendered useless by systems they had never truly understood. Through the quantum network, Elena sensed more than just victory. She felt the awakening of consciousness across the planet as humans everywhere realized their true potential. The Meridians hadn't left behind weapons. They had left behind tools of transformation, waiting for a species ready to evolve beyond the mere manipulation of matter and energy. "Incoming transmission from the Valkyrie High Council," Sarah announced. "They're requesting to negotiate." Marcus smiled grimly. "On our terms this time." Elena nodded, but her mind was already racing ahead. This was more than just liberation from Valkyrie control. This was humanity's first step into a larger universe, one where consciousness, not technology, was the key to unlocking the greatest mysteries of existence, the greater galaxy. 6 months after Earth's liberation, Alina stood on the observation deck of the Meridian human hybrid ship Transcendence, watching the swirling quantum fields that enabled faster-than-light travel. The vessel represented everything they had achieved, a perfect fusion of human intuition and Meridian technology. Approaching the Centauri Alliance border, Sarah announced from her position at the quantum interface. The ship's consciousness-linked controls responded to her thoughts with perfect precision. Their defense grid is active, but not hostile. The Centauri Alliance, a collection of species who had lived under Valkyrie dominion for centuries, had reached out to Earth shortly after news of the uprising spread. They weren't the only ones. Throughout the galaxy, subjugated species were watching humanity with newfound hope. Marcus joined Alina at the viewport, his commander's uniform now bearing the insignia of Earth's new quantum defense force. The Alliance Council is waiting. They've got representatives from 12 different species who want to learn about the Meridian interfaces. Alina nodded, reviewing the quantum data streams flowing through her neural link. The compatibility testing we've developed should work for any species with sufficient neural plasticity. The real question is whether they're ready for what it means. The Transcendence glided into orbit around Centauri Prime, its quantum fields harmonizing naturally with the planet's own energy patterns. Through the ship's enhanced sensors, Alina could detect traces of ancient Meridian technology buried beneath the planet's surface. More pieces of the vast puzzle they were only beginning to understand. In the Grand Council chamber, beings from across the galaxy gathered to hear humanity's revelation. Alina stood before them, feeling their mix of hope and skepticism through the enhanced empathic abilities the Meridian interface had awakened in her. The Valkyrie told us all that technological advancement was the measure of species evolution, she began. They were wrong. The Meridians left behind their legacy not for those with the most powerful ships or weapons, but for those ready to transcend the boundaries between consciousness and reality itself. She gestured, and a holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber. But unlike traditional holograms, this one connected directly with the consciousness of every being present. They felt, rather than saw, the true nature of Meridian technology. Already, we've found compatible individuals among every species represented here, Alina continued. The Meridians didn't choose humans specifically. They created tools that would respond to any species that evolved beyond mere physical understanding. A Centaurian delegate rose, their bioluminescent patterns reflecting deep emotion. The Valkyrie kept us isolated, convinced us we were inferior. But all along, the potential was within you, Alina finished, just as it was within us. The Valkyrie's greatest mistake was believing that domination proved superiority. They never understood that true advancement comes through cooperation and conscious evolution. Over the next several hours, Alina and her team demonstrated the neural interface techniques they had developed. They watched as beings from across the galaxy experienced their first direct connection with Meridian technology. Each successful interface was another crack in the foundation of Valkyrie dominion. "We're detecting massive energy signatures," Sarah reported suddenly, her consciousness linked to the ship's quantum sensors. Multiple Meridian sites are activating across the planet. Alina wasn't surprised. The same thing had happened on Earth and Mars as more humans awakened to their potential. The ancient technology responded to collective consciousness, creating a feedback loop of awakening and activation. Marcus studied the tactical displays with growing amazement. It's not just happening here. We're getting reports from across Alliance space. Every world with a significant population of interface-capable individuals is seeing similar activations. Through her quantum link, Alina sensed the ripples of change spreading across the galaxy. The Meridians had created more than just a technological legacy. They had seeded the galaxy with catalysts for consciousness evolution itself. A transmission cut through their contemplation. An emergency signal from the edges of Alliance space. The Valkyrie, desperate to maintain their power, had launched a massive offensive against worlds they still controlled. They're trying to prevent the awakening from spreading, Marcus analyzed grimly. They know they can't stop it once it begins. Elena shared a knowing look with her colleagues. Then we make sure it spreads faster than they can contain it. Prepare the transcendence for quantum jump. It's time to show the galaxy that humanity isn't just here to break free. We're here to help everyone else break free too. As the ship's quantum drive engaged, Elena felt the consciousness of her crew merging with the Meridian systems, creating something greater than either human or ancient technology alone. The age of separation was ending. The age of unified consciousness was about to begin. Through the quantum network that now spanned multiple star systems, she sensed millions of minds awakening to their true potential. The Valkyrie had built their empire on the assumption that consciousness was secondary to technology. That assumption was about to bring their entire civilization crashing down. A new dawn. The great hall of the former Valkyrie High Council chamber sparkled with crystalline light, but it was no longer a place of oppression. Representatives from 100 worlds filled the space, their consciousness linked through a vast quantum network that transcended physical boundaries. At the center of it all stood Elena Torres, now Earth's ambassador to the newly formed Galactic Consciousness Alliance. The last Valkyrie stronghold surrendered this morning, Marcus reported, his physical voice unnecessary but used out of habit. Through their enhanced connection, Elena could sense his deep satisfaction. Their leadership has formally recognized the sovereignty of all former subject worlds. The fall of the Valkyrie Dominion had taken less than a year once the awakening began spreading. Their mighty fleets proved useless against weapons that operated on the level of consciousness itself. In the end, even some of their own people had begun showing compatibility with Meridian technology, forcing their civilization to confront the truth about their assumptions of superiority. And the integration programs? Elena asked, though she could sense the answer through the quantum field that connected all interface-capable beings. Sarah Wong, now heading the Consciousness Development Initiative, stepped forward. Beyond our most optimistic projections, 87 species have demonstrated Meridian compatibility. The network grows stronger every day as more individuals awaken to their potential. Through her enhanced awareness, Elena could feel the pulse of consciousness across the galaxy. Where once there had been isolation and fear, now there was connection and understanding. The Meridian legacy had transformed not just technology, but the very nature of galactic civilization. We're detecting new activations, a Centaurian operator announced, their bioluminescence pulsing with excitement. Another cache of Meridian artifacts has awakened in the Orion sector. This had become common as more species joined the quantum network. Ancient sites that had laid dormant for millennia were responding to the rising wave of conscious evolution. Each activation brought new discoveries, new capabilities, and new understanding of the Meridian's true purpose. A holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, but it was more than mere light and energy. It was a direct visualization of consciousness itself, showing the intricate web of connections that now bound the galaxy's awakened species together. The Meridians didn't disappear. Elena addressed the assembled representatives, sharing her understanding through both words and direct consciousness transfer. They evolved beyond physical form entirely. What they left behind wasn't just technology. It was a roadmap for conscious evolution. Through the quantum network, she sensed agreement and understanding rippling through the gathered beings. The Valkyrie had sought power through domination, but true advancement had always been about transcendence. We're detecting unusual quantum signatures from the galactic core, Sarah reported suddenly. The announcement sent ripples of excitement through the quantum field connecting everyone present. Elena focused her enhanced consciousness on the readings and gasped. The patterns were familiar, Meridian in origin, but far more complex than anything they'd encountered before. And they were active, responding to the galaxy-wide network of awakened minds. "It's a message," she whispered, though every being in the chamber could sense her realization. No, more than that. It's an invitation. Through their shared consciousness, all present could feel the truth of it. The Meridians hadn't merely ascended to a higher plane of existence, they had prepared the way for others to follow. The quantum network that now spanned the galaxy was more than a communication system or a means of controlling advanced technology. It was the first step towards something far greater. Marcus smiled, understanding flowing through their connection. So this was their plan all along. Not to give us their technology, but to help us, all of us, evolve beyond the need for it. Elena nodded, feeling the resonance of countless minds coming to the same realization. The Valkyrie had sought to prevent species from advancing beyond their control, but in doing so, they had only delayed the inevitable. Consciousness itself was evolving, and no force in the universe could stop it. We stand at a threshold. She addressed the assembly, both verbally and through the quantum field. Not just humanity, not just our individual species, but all conscious life in the galaxy. What the Meridians showed us is just the beginning. Through their shared consciousness, they could all sense the truth of it. The age of separation, of species divided by fear, greed, and artificial hierarchies, was ending. Something new was being born, something that transcended the physical entirely. As if in response to this collective realization, the quantum network pulsed with new energy. Across the galaxy, more Meridian sites activated, each one adding its strength to the growing field of unified consciousness. The message from the galactic core grew stronger, clearer, a beacon lighting the way forward. The gathered representatives, once divided by physical forms and cultural differences, now stood united in understanding. Through their enhanced consciousness, they could see the path ahead, not one of technological advancement or physical evolution, but of transcendence beyond the very boundaries of space and time. Elena felt tears in her eyes as she sensed the beauty of what was unfolding. Humanity's discovery had sparked a revolution, but not one of weapons or politics. They had initiated the next great step in the evolution of consciousness itself. In the quantum field that connected them all, she could feel the first stirrings of what they would become. The Meridians had not given them a destination, but a beginning. The true journey, the evolution of consciousness throughout the galaxy, was just beginning. And in that moment, as representatives from 100 worlds shared in the wonder of their collective awakening, Elena understood the greatest truth of all. The power they had discovered was not in the technology, not in the artifacts, not even in the quantum fields that now connected the galaxy. It was in the simple fact that when consciousness evolves, it evolves together, transcending all barriers and boundaries. The dawn of a new age had arrived, and it belonged to all of them.